Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. For weeks, anxiety had been building in the crowded halls of the Los Angeles hospital, where the strong aroma of antiseptic and the steady beep of monitors made an uncomfortable symphony. Sheila Carter, the legendary troublemaker whose mere mention could send shivers down the spines of the Forrester and Logan families, had once again found herself in the midst of upheaval. Her marriage to Deacon Sharp had been a whirlwind of love and suspicion, but these suspicions had now coalesced into something darker and more frightening. Whispers had reached her regarding Deacon and Taylor Hayes. Dr. Taylor Hayes, the exquisite psychiatrist whose relationship with Ridge Forrester and the entire Forrester clan made her both a respected figure and a target for ancient grudges. Sheila had always been a master of disguise, a chameleon who could take on any role when it suited her warped goals. Years of conspiracies, shootings, and escapes had sharpened her deceit skills. When she heard the security announcement at the hospital gate that afternoon, her blood raced cold. "Sheila Carter is not allowed on the premises," the guard said into his radio, his voice echoing around the lobby. "No exceptions. If you see her, call it in right away." The words felt like a slap. Stephanie Forrester's daughter, Steffi, had pulled strings to keep Sheila away from Taylor, who was healing from recent health issues and emotional upheaval. But for a lady like Sheila, bans meant nothing. They were only challenges to overcome, riddles to solve with her astute intellect. Sheila hid in the shadows near the staff entrance, observing the security team like a tiger analyzing its prey. The security at the front desk was preoccupied, answering phones and directing guests. A delivery person carried a cart via a side entrance, and Sheila moved in that split second. She crept through the unmarked staff entrance, her heart racing with a familiar rush of the forbidden. The locker room was only down the hall, unoccupied at this hour, with scrubs and clothes neatly hung on hooks. Her gaze scoured the racks until she found what she was looking for, an old-fashioned nurse's costume with a spotless white cap and a surgical mask tucked into the pocket. It was excellent, evocative of her previous brief experiences in medical disguises. She changed quickly, her fingers remaining steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. The linen felt cool against her skin, reminding her of previous roles she'd played: nurse, caregiver, the embodiment of innocence. Pulling the KN95 mask over her face, she carefully adjusted it to obscure her distinguishing characteristics. Her wild eyes, which were typically expressive and frightening, were now veiled behind the barrier. She put her hair beneath the cap, adjusted the outfit, and practiced walking softly and professionally in front of the mirror. "Nurse Carter," she said to herself with a sardonic smirk. "Here to check on the patients." The irony was not lost on her. She was not a healer. She was the storm that was approaching. Outside, the hospital was alive with bustle. Doctors rushed between rooms. Nurses pushed pharmaceutical carts as family waited impatiently in the lounges. Sheila exited from the locker room with confidence, nodding graciously to a passing orderly who scarcely noticed her. She moved directly into the security checkpoint, her stance firm and deliberate, just like any diligent nurse on her shift. The guard looked up briefly, examining her uniform, mask, and ID badge, which she had snatched off a lost lanyard in the locker. "Evening," he mumbled, and waved her in without hesitation. The restriction on Sheila Carter was meaningless because the woman in front of him appeared to be a seasoned medical expert. Her disguise had worked beautifully, allowing her to sneak past the precise barricades designed to keep her out. As she proceeded deeper into the hospital, Sheila's mind raced with recollections. She recalled the numerous disagreements she'd had with Taylor, motivated by jealousy, old scars from their shared connections to Ridge, and now this latest betrayal. Deacon was hers. He had promised her stability, a life free from the endless turmoil, but now he was lured back into Taylor's orbit. The thought made Sheila's blood boil. She had survived gunfire, incarceration, and exile, and she was not going to let a ban or a security guard stop her from facing the truth. Taylor Hayes sat in her own office, a haven of tranquility amidst the hospital's bustle. Soft lighting illuminated the room, and a new pizza box from Deacon's favorite restaurant sat on the desk, still warm and uncut. Deacon Sharp had just arrived, his rugged charm evident as he leaned against the doorframe. Their connection had unexpectedly revived, fueled by shared vulnerabilities and forbidden glances. "We got lucky last time," Taylor remarked quietly, her voice tinged with caution as she gazed at him. "But every time we're together like this, we're putting our lives in danger. Sheila, she's unpredictable. If she finds out..." Deacon went closer, his palm caressing Taylor's face, his thumb tenderly tracing her cheek. "I know, document. But I can't stay away. Not anymore." Their gazes locked, the air dense with unspoken emotions. They leaned forward, sharing a passionate yet risky kiss. It was a fleeting moment of intimacy, ignorant to the shadow lying just outside the door. Sheila had made her way to the corridor outside Taylor's office, her nurse's shoes quiet on the smooth floor. She halted and listened to the muffled whispers. Her heart nearly stopped as she peeked through the little break in the door. There they were, her husband and the woman she had long considered a competition, locked in an intense embrace. Deacon placed his palm on Taylor's face, their lips touching in a way that screamed betrayal. Sheila's fists clenched at her sides, the surgical mask concealing the rage that twisted her cheeks. Pain, rage, and a frigid determination swept through her. "Pray to God I'm wrong about you," she said under her breath, echoing the doubts that had brought her here. She waited patiently, like a spider in its web, until Deacon pulled away. He glanced at his watch, muttered something about needing to check on things at the restaurant, and slipped out of the office, passing Sheila without noticing the disguised figure. The door clicked shut behind him, leaving Taylor alone with her back turned slightly while she collected her thoughts. This was the moment. Sheila pushed the door open with a faint creak, entering as Nurse Carter. Her voice was measured and professional at first. "Dr. Hayes, are you ready to take your medicine?" She moved carefully, the uniform giving her an air of authority that concealed the tempest within. Taylor turned, shocked but not instantly concerned. The nurse appeared familiar in a weird manner, but the mask covered everything. "I'm sorry, but I don't think we have an appointment. Who scheduled this?" Sheila closed the door behind her, the lock clanging with finality. In a single fluid motion, she removed the mask, revealing her face, those piercing eyes now burning with accusation. "It's me, Taylor. Nurse Carter at your service." The sarcasm oozed like venom. "Or should I say, the wife of the man you just kissed." Taylor's face turned pale. She moved back, reflexively reaching for the phone on her desk. "Sheila, how did you get in here?" "Security. Security." Sheila smiled quietly, filling the room with chills. Those fools couldn't spot a wolf in sheep's clothing if it bit them. A simple uniform, a mask, and poof, I'm just another nurse doing her rounds. Your precious band didn't stop me. Nothing ever does when it comes to protecting what's mine. The office, once a place of healing and quiet reflection, was now crackling with danger. Taylor's mind raced through her training as a psychiatrist, looking for de-escalation strategies, but her personal past with Sheila made it almost difficult. This wasn't a patient. She was a woman scorned, equipped with years of bitterness and a shown propensity to use violence. Sheila had already shot her own kid, staged deaths, and carried out several scams. In comparison, a hospital ban was trivial. "You have no right to be here," Taylor stated firmly, her voice trembling slightly. She tried to maintain a firm posture, portraying the calm authority that had helped her counsel so many tormented souls. "Deacon and it's complicated, but this isn't what you think. We're just talking." Sheila's eyes sharpened, circling the desk like a shark. "Talking? With his hands on your face and your lips on his?" "I saw it all, Taylor. Every tender, little moment. You think you can swoop in and take him back after everything? After I gave him a life, a chance at something real?" Her voice rose, echoing off the walls. She took a small vase off the shelf and tightened her fingers around it, as if testing its weight as a weapon. "I've been banned, watched, and judged by all of you, the Forresters, the Logans, and even my own family, but I always find a way back." Taylor's heart pounded in her chest. She could feel the danger intensifying, the air becoming heavy with threat. Memories raced back, confrontations when SHEILA's unpredictable behavior had caused actual hurt. "Sheila, listen to me. We don't have to do this. Put the vase down. We can talk this through like adults. Deacon cares about you, he does. But sneaking in here disguised, this isn't the way to fix anything." "Adults." Sheila spat, slamming the vase down but not releasing it. Shards of anxiety appeared to crackle about them. "You lecture me about being an adult while you're sneaking around with my husband behind my back? In your fancy office, with your degrees and your perfect little life? I've clawed my way through hell, Taylor. Lost toes, faced prison, buried secrets that would destroy empires, and you? You just bat your eyes and pull men back into your web." Deacon, meanwhile, had made it only halfway down the hall when he was stopped by a nagging feeling. Something about the nurse he'd passed, her stature, the way she moved. It could not be. He turned back, speeding his pace toward Taylor's office, unaware that the argument within was reaching a boiling point. Sheila moved closer inside, her disguise no longer intact in spirit if not in clothing. "Tell me the truth, Taylor. How long has this been going on? Are you sleeping with him? Are you planning to steal him away like you tried with Ridge all those years?" Her questions flew quickly, each filled with accusation and grief. The lady who had once seemed untouchable now appeared fragile at her wrath, but this vulnerability made her even more terrifying. Unpredictable persons in suffering frequently reacted violently. Taylor backed up to the window, her mind calculating escape routes or ways to alert security without eliciting an outburst. "It's not like that. Deacon and I have history, yes, but we're both trying to figure things out. Hurting me won't solve your problems with him. It will only make everything worse, for you, for Deacon, for everyone." Sheila's laugh turned bitter. "Worse? My life has been nothing but worse since I let love in again. You think your words can fix this? I've heard them all before from shrinks like you. No. Today you're going to listen to me." She picked up a letter opener from the desk and twirled it absent-mindedly, though her grip suggested it could quickly become something far more sinister. The hospital's security, unaware of the intrusion, resumed their rounds elsewhere. The guard who had waved Nurse Carter through was now dealing with a minor commotion in the ER, unaware that the forbidden woman had walked straight by him. Sheila's courage had paid off, but at what cost? Her actions had created a target not just for Taylor, but also for herself. If caught now, the penalties would be severe. Arrest, restraining orders, and possibly the loss of whatever frail independence she clung to. Deacon approached the door, hesitantly, as he heard loud voices inside. "Taylor," he inquired, pulling it open just as Sheila turned, letter opener still in hand. Taylor crushed against the desk, Sheila in her stolen nurse's uniform exuding rage, and Deacon torn between devotion and horror. "Sheila?" Deacon's voice broke in shock. "What the hell are you doing here? How? Sheila wheeled on him, her gaze wild. "The same way I always do, Deacon. By being smarter than the people trying to keep me out. You thought a security ban would stop me from finding out about this." She gestured wildly between them. "Your little pizza date, the kisses, the secrets? I saw it all from the hallway. Nurse Carter sees everything." Taylor seized the opportunity to get closer to the intercom button, but Sheila noticed and stepped forward to prevent her. "Don't even think about it, document. This is between us now. All three of us." Deacon stood between them, his palms up in a placating motion. "Baby, put that down. This isn't you. We can talk about it at home, away from here. Taylor's not the enemy." "Not the enemy?" Sheila's voice broke with genuine passion. "She's the reason you're pulling away. Every time I turn around, it's Taylor this, Taylor that. Your ex, your confidant, your whatever this is." Tears welled up in her eyes, but she brushed them away quickly. Vulnerability was not a luxury she could afford right now. "I risked everything coming here today. Slipped past security like a ghost in this ridiculous uniform. And for what? To confirm that my husband is betraying me with the one woman who represents everything I've fought against." The confrontation dragged on, words flying like daggers. Taylor used reason, appealing to Sheila's better angels, reminding her of familial ties and the possibility of healing. Deacon pled for calm, expressing his confusion but insisting on allegiance where it counted. SHEILA, on the other hand, was a power unleashed. Her disguise had allowed her admission, but it now represented how far she was willing to go for the truth, or even revenge. As the minutes passed, the danger in the room grew. Sheila's grasp on the letter opener tightened as Taylor moved too quickly. The hospital staff strolled by in the hallway, ignorant of the drama unfolding behind the closed door. One false action, one raised alert, and the scenario might quickly escalate into bloodshed. Taylor's life was precariously balanced, and her clinical knowledge was no match for Sheila's unbridled wrath. Deacon finally reached out and gently removed the makeshift weapon from Sheila's grasp. Enough. We're leaving.
Now.
Before someone calls real security, and this gets uglier. SHEILA paused, her gaze flitting between them. The mask lay strewn on the floor, the nurse's cap skewed. In that moment, she appeared less like the daring schemer and more like a woman torn apart by love's intricacies. However, the fire within her did not go down. "This isn't over," she said, her tone low and ominous. "Not by a long shot. Taylor, you stay away from my husband. Or next time, I won't bother with a disguise." Taylor exhaled shakily as Deacon escorted her toward the door, finally grabbing for her phone to contact security. The hospital prohibition had failed spectacularly, demonstrating once again that SHEILA Carter followed her own rules. Taylor was safe for the time being, but the threat lurked like a shadow. In the world of the bold and the beautiful, where love triangles and vendettas defined lives, this nursing disguise was only the latest installment in an unending story of passion and survival. SHEILA and Deacon vanished along the corridor, the stolen uniform eliciting inquisitive looks now that the adrenaline had subsided. Whispers would quickly spread about how the famed SHEILA had penetrated the hospital undetected. Steffi would be outraged, Ridge would be lured back into the conflict, and Brooke would most certainly offer her own judgmental advice. Taylor was alone in her office once more, and the pizza went cold. She touched her face where Deacon had caressed it, recalling the kiss that had set off this insanity. Danger had come too close today, a warning that amid their interwoven lives, no security ban, disguise, or amount of caution could totally guard the heart from its weaknesses. SHEILA's daring had exposed fissures in long-strained relationships, paving the way for additional confrontations, plans, and either redemption or destruction. The hospital lights flickered on as twilight fell, throwing lengthy shadows in the halls where SHEILA had previously strolled as a nurse. Her disguise had worked, but the real test would be whether she could keep Deacon without destroying everything, or if her actions would push him further closer to Taylor. Taylor, for her part, knew she had to step lightly. One woman's jealousy had transformed an ordinary day into a life-threatening meeting, demonstrating that in this soap opera world, the brave always found a way, while the beautiful frequently paid the price in mental pain. Hours later, as word of the tragedy spread around the Forrester family, opinions varied. Ridge paced his office, afraid for Taylor's safety and angry with the never-ending loop. Brooke gave support, her own experience with SHEILA making her sympathetic yet skeptical. Steffi swore to enhance security measures, possibly including the police this time. But everyone knew SHEILA would not go quietly. She never did. Deacon, driving SHEILA home in uncomfortable quiet, struggled with his conflicting loyalties. "You scare her half to death," he admitted finally. "And me too. Was it worth it?" SHEILA asked, her nurse's uniform rumpled on her lap as she looked out the window. "I had to know, and now I do. But knowing doesn't make it any less painful." Her voice softened, showing the layers underlying the schemer, the woman who sought approval as much as she used deception. Taylor returned to the hospital, locked her door, and slumped heavily in her chair. She replayed the confrontation, understanding SHEILA's psychology despite her dread. The disguise had been smart and efficient, demonstrating SHEILA's inventiveness. However, it also exposed her desperation. Taylor grabbed up the phone and called a coworker for advice, knowing she couldn't do this alone. The night progressed, with city lights glittering beyond the hospital windows. This event was a single thread in the broad tapestry of Los Angeles's elite and their tragedies, but it was tightly wound enough to unravel more. SHEILA's nurse disguise had gotten past the restriction, but it had kept Taylor on high alert, her peril far from finished. Relationships would change, alliances would be put to the test, and the never-ending cycle of love, betrayal, and redemption would continue. As morning neared the following day, tales spread among hospital workers about the mystery nurse who had no timetable. Security examined footage, piecing together how the breach happened. The old-fashioned outfit, mask, and timing all pointed to one infamous figure. Calls were made, warnings were delivered, but SHEILA Carter had already sown the seeds of doubt and worry that would flourish in the days ahead. Taylor met with Deacon later, and their talk was guarded and serious. "She could have hurt me," Taylor said. "Really hurt me. You need to get control of this, Deacon, or someone will end up paying a terrible price." Deacon nodded, torn. His feelings for SHEILA were genuine, but his attraction to Taylor pulled at him like an undertow. The brave efforts of one woman led everyone to confront hard truths. Finally, the account of SHEILA's infiltration served as a sharp reminder of how fragile peace is in their world. Disguises could trick security, but they could not conceal the deep emotions propelling the characters forward. Taylor remained cautious, her danger a constant companion, until the upheaval was resolved. SHEILA, undeterred, planned her next actions, her nursing persona a symbol of how far she would go to get what she thought was hers. The hospital resumed its normal, but the undercurrents of drama remained. Families gathered, secrets simmered, and the beautiful lives of these brave beings continued to connect in both predictable and unexpected ways. SHEILA's successful breach was only the beginning. The true danger lied in the hearts and decisions that followed, creating a story of romance, risk, and the unbreakable links of soap opera fate. SHEILA moved with measured precision, her pulse steady despite the danger approaching from all sides. She wore a clean nurse's outfit and kept her head slightly bowed, her look calm and professional. Nobody questioned her as she moved through the hospital corridors. The security prohibition that had previously prevented her from entering had become little more than a stumbling block that she expertly avoided. A falsified ID badge and a confident stride were all she required. Inside, the atmosphere was tight. Doctors and staff hurried around, unknowing that a far greater threat had crept into their midst. SHEILA's eyes swept every nook and reflected in the glass panels to ensure she wasn't being followed. Her mind, however, remained set on one target, Taylor. Taylor, who was still healing, had no idea what to expect. She rested in her chamber, convinced that she was finally safe after everything that had transpired. However, safety was an illusion, and SHEILA was about to destroy it. Each step drew SHEILA closer, her thoughts racing with ideas, memories, and a burning need that refused to go away. When SHEILA finally got to the door, she halted. A nurse passed past, giving a nice nod, and completely fooled by the disguise. SHEILA gracefully reciprocated the gesture before entering the room. The gentle buzz of machines permeated the area. Taylor stirred slightly, sense of presence, but not becoming terrified. "SHEILA?" Taylor's voice quivered as recognition dawned. SHEILA smiled chillingly. "Do you miss me?" As fear set in, the air became heavy. Taylor attempted to reach for the call button, but SHEILA was faster, pushing her hand down hard to stop her. Words followed, sharp and emotional, laced with years of bitterness and obsession. SHEILA wasn't only threatening Taylor, she was also reminding him that no barrier, no protection, could ever fully keep her away. Outside, a vague suspicion began to spread among the staff. Something felt odd. A security guard peered over the system, finding a badge that did not match the records. The understanding was too late. Inside the room, the confrontation heated up, with anxiety rising with each passing second. Taylor's anxiety changed to fierce determination, while SHEILA's calm began to crack, revealing the instability beneath. Just when everything looked about to burst, footsteps ran down the hallway, fast, urgent, and gaining close.